What's up, Wildcats? I'm Austin Barnes, and you're watching the Wildcat Weekly. This week, campus is a little more colorful than usual. K-State Student Governing Association is hosting their SGA Celebrates Week. They kicked off the week by stopping students on the quad and asking them to chalk their organization.
Today we're celebrating the 475 clubs that we have on campus. It's supposed to be hosted by the University Allocation Committee, but it's hosted by student government as a whole. And we're just going around asking students to chalk whatever club they're involved in on the sidewalk, so all the students can know what all clubs are available and know that SGA is here to support all of the clubs that are on campus. A lot of clubs come into us asking us to give them money so they can do events or promotions. There has been a big variety, all from athletic clubs to social clubs to academic clubs. We've seen from E-Club to Christian Challenge, fraternities such as Beta Sigma Psi, Theta Xi. We've also seen rowing club, volleyball, intramural sports. Anything you can think of, it's been chalked down on the floor.
If you want to see more of how SGA celebrates, we will have a full coverage of the rest of their events on next week's episode. Not only does K-State have over 475 organizations on campus, we also have a ton of intramural sports to get involved in. Our very own Clarissa Weirs hit the bowling alley to show us a tournament that continues this weekend.
Hey K-Staters, I'm Clarissa Weirs, and you sports fanatics are probably super pumped about the brand new season of intramural bowling. Students are trading in their bowling shoes in order to strike out the competition. So why don't you spare a moment and watch how they roll.
Actually, I like the idea of having intramurals because we have like regular leagues throughout the week. So now it's different because now the rec gets to help us out with like a actual co-ed type thing, and students are more involved in this than the regular leagues. So it gives them a taste of what they could have like on the regular days.
I'm from Beta Theta Pi, and I'm part of the intramural team. We're the bowling team, here to win. Try and go for 11 straight intramural championships. So that's a big part of our fraternity, is winning at sports.
I think it gives people a lot of competition and gives them that competitive edge they might have lost in high school or lost when they came to college from high school or something. It gives them that extra little push. So, I mean, I was definitely very confident when we came in that we were going to win. So.
Some people take it very seriously and bowl weekly, but like this is the first time I bowled in probably 3 months. But it's a fun time at K-State, so I'll enjoy it.
Well, it definitely takes up their Sunday now. Like I'm always here on Sunday, so now I get to see more of my fellow students actually in competitive bowling. I just like the idea, I would say. Get them out here and get to experience what they don't see because of the construction and everything as well. It's harder to come down here.
If you missed this game, don't worry. You can catch the next one on Sunday right here in the K-State Union. I'm Clarissa Weirs, and I'll see you later, K-Staters.
While those Wildcats are scoring strikes, others are broadcasting live performances from local bands. Our campus radio station, KSDB, plays alternative music by day and hip-hop by night. They also host special programming like sports and specialty shows. Last week, they brought in a local band called C.S. Luxem as part of their classroom series. Don't move, because right after we show you some of their performance, you'll get to hear from our special guest who helped make this happen.
saw you on dream I'll see summer rain. I am lonely, only for a town worth living in, the state I'm in. Let me go on, 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 let me go on. Now that you're in front of me, I want to be everything. Now that you're in front of me, I want to be everything,
I'm joined now by Nick Fief, the music director at KSDB, and we're going to talk a little bit about the station's Classroom series, which is a music series that they bring in local bands. So let's just jump right into it, Nick. Go ahead and tell us, what is this Classroom series about? What goes into it? All that good stuff.
Okay, well, the Classroom series is something that we started several semesters ago, and it all kind of started with just an idea of like KEXP, which is a pretty big radio station in Seattle. And they do something similar to that, where they bring in a band and they have them play live over the air, and while they record a video and they make a nice production of it. And that was just something that we thought, like, why can't we be doing that since we have the space over in McCain? So that's the person before me that did that was Jordan Sawyer, and he really kind of founded the whole thing, I guess, if you will. And from that foundation, when we first did it, we didn't even have video of it. It was all just over the air. So. And we've kind of built on it ever since that. So.
Yeah, you talk about how it's kind of building as it goes. I know that I've noticed that it keeps expanding every time one's announced. And you guys do a lot of things in the community as well. You guys go out in Aggieville. Tell us a little bit about things like that.
Sure. And that's kind of been part of the plan too, was when we bring these bands in, it would be nice to give them a show in town as well. And that's something that they usually ask us, is there a place that we can play? And recently we've been working with Aggie Station and using their facilities and their space to host shows. So what we do typically now is we'll have them come into our studio, do a full studio performance that broadcasts over the air, and then we'll go down to Aggieville afterwards for a show and just hang out there. So.
All right. Now, how are you getting the word out about these things? I know I've seen several different types of promotions, and I know you guys are doing some experimenting. So how do people know about these shows and how they can get to them?
Well, we do whatever we can, really, and we have a really good promotion staff that handles a lot of that. We send out tweets. A lot of it is social media based, where there's lots of tweets. We try to connect with the bands and have them share things on their Twitter profiles and their Facebook pages. We chalk a lot around campus, just to have everybody see it while they're walking. There's things going on at Aggieville, and that's kind of what we've been trying to do. We also make posters as well too, that we put up all over campus and buildings, on light posts, just trying to get as much of the word out as we can. So.
All right. Now, you're also the music director at KSDB. So how do you go about that position? How is that something you get into? Is that related to your major at all, or just tell us kind of what's going on with that?
Sure. Actually, I'm a food science major, so it has nothing to do with anything that I've done at KSDB. But it's funny because the guy before me, Jordan, was also in the College of Ag. So there's a lot of different people that are involved with KSDB. But what I did was I started asking Jordan, who was the music director at the time, how can I get more involved? And he began, giving me some CDs and giving me some music to listen to. And by just providing feedback on those, he saw that I could write about it and that I could talk about the music. And that was kind of where I started out as a music director. And from there, it's been about 2 years in the position. So.
Well, it's definitely exciting.
Yeah.
So as far as selecting new music and things like that, do you just have to review tapes from bands or, CDs? I mean, it is 2015. So you kind of review that stuff, and do those submissions go into selecting bands for the Classroom series at all? Or, is there any influence with that?
Yeah, that's actually a funny thing that you pointed out, was that tapes aren't necessarily a thing, but local bands around Lawrence actually do send us like cassette tapes. So that's kind of funny that you mentioned it.
Kind of in the right area.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, we get a variety of submissions. Not as much vinyl anymore because that's obviously more expensive. But we get a lot of CDs, and we'll get like cassette tapes from local bands because that's just a cheap and easy way to record material. But a lot of what we get is from nationally touring acts, so like bigger acts that are serviced to us through a third-party promoter. But with local bands, what they often do is we'll either approach them, and that's kind of how it all started, was mostly just us approaching them, or they will actually email us or message us or connect with us on our website or in some way, shape, or form. Even Twitter, we've had people tweet at us and ask like, how could we play a show? So and that kind of goes along with just the way we've been building on it. Because before we had to go out and actively look for people and to bring them in, but now I mean there's been multiple people that have sent us messages and asked like, how can we do a classroom series with KSDB? So
now it's kind of like they're coming to you, you just can't turn them down.
It's kind of a nice problem to have. So
yeah, that's definitely. So how do students or anyone interested in getting involved with KSDB, either in a DJ position or some other capacity, how do they go about getting involved in that? I know there are some kind of easy access ways that they can do that. So
no, absolutely. And like I mentioned earlier too, that I'm a college of ag student, so it has nothing to do with my major or anything like that. And we've had college of ag students on executive staff. We've got plenty of journalism school people on our staff as well. So anybody can enroll in the class because it is technically a class, and it's MC 165 on ISIS or CASIS, and all you do is just enroll in that. And we have a 1 meeting a week class, if you will, where we show up and we'll just discuss events going on at the radio station, promotions coming up, how they can get more involved with the radio station, because the base level for just somebody coming in would just be a live DJ shift. But there's so much more that you can do with that. You can go on to do a specialty show where you take an hour or two of your own special programming where you provide educational content about a specific topic, for our listeners. And that's kind of the main goal, I guess, of KSDB, is to provide that educational content to our listeners and also to our staff, how they prepare and actually put on a show. So yeah.
All right. Now, you guys recently had a show just a couple of weeks ago, and the band was CS Luxem, which we actually saw a few clips of just a little bit ago. So what does their sound like? Can you kind of describe that for us? And does it fall in line with that alternative style that KSDB has, or do you guys try to branch out as far as bands with their style? Just tell us a little about that.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, that's an interesting point too, because CS Luxem I always joke because they're very hard to pinpoint on what they sound like, because they're a very diverse band, a very diverse group. Their lead singer is really the brainchild of the whole thing, and he kind of he's mostly just a solo project, but he brings in musicians from around the Lawrence area to help play with him. So he had actually musicians from Psychic Heat with him when he came, and they brought a very psychedelic rock type sound with them, and also Your Friend. That's the name of a band. It's kind of confusing. But
My friend.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And Taryn is her name, and Taryn, she's great, and she's again more of a psychedelic, almost shoegazy feel. So together they bring a very interesting mesh of sounds, and it goes anywhere from folk to psych to shoegaze, just all kind of brought well together in an interesting little package. So.
All right. So it's kind of just a whole collection there.
Yeah, and it kind of represents, like you said too, what we play as our radio station. That when people ask me what type of music does KSDB play, but the easy answer is to just say alternative, jazz, and hip hop. But really, I mean, all alternative music is just very eclectic in its range. So we have things from basic folk music to heavier rock, heavier punk, post-punk, garage rock. We have a variety. There's a variety for everyone. We have things that some people would consider pop songs in there too. I mean, and that's kind of what I do as my job, is to just make sure we have that balance within our alternative rotation too. So.
All right. Well, Nick, I want to thank you for joining us. It looks like we are out of time, but I'll definitely be checking out that classroom series next time. And thank you for giving us a lesson on that and letting us know what's going on with that. That is going to do it for this week's show. But don't worry, we'll be back right here next week for some more news around campus.